I am sick and tired of fake, phony, hypocritical, religious people. And I'm going to be talking about the guys and the women all in this one video because I'm sick of it and I'm about to speak on behalf of everyone. So if anybody has ever been irritated or bothered or questioned or felt that they had to stay silent at the result of the hypocritical, fake good girls, fake good guys, religious men of God, men of whatever, women of whatever, yeah, we're about to talk about this now because I've had it up to here and it's like two things that just tipped me over the edge. So it's a nice Sabbath day. Happy Sabbath, everybody. It's a nice Sabbath day and I was about to go out for a walk, right? And as I was preparing to go for a walk, I was like, I'm going to eat something because I haven't really eaten something. So I'm eating something. I'm like, let me throw on some YouTube videos. So before even that, I discovered earlier today, and I'm coming specifically, especially for the Christian girlies, because you guys know, as I always say, you got to deal with things in your own camp. You got to deal with things in your own camp first. So I'm a woman, so I'm going to talk about the women, my issues with the Christian, the fake good girls, the ones who are like, oh my gosh, my faith is so important to me. But are secretly the same ones getting their cheeks clapped behind the scenes, but then want to play that. We're going to come to that. And I just want to also say, before the gentlemen of the world think, oh, this is great, she's on our team. Oh no, baby, because I also discovered today that now in Afghanistan, the women, right, the Afghanistan women, not only do they have to wear the big black flipping tents, now their eyes are not even allowed to be visible anymore. They've lost all their rights. Now that you don't even see their eyes, other women are not allowed to hear their voice and they're not allowed to go anywhere without the supervision of a man. As if it's the women who are the ones with the self-control issues. And the funny part of this, this was the nail in the coffin for me, was the fact that recently I've had experiences in all these categories, even recently. When I was in London, I was telling you, oh, this guy came up to me, whatever. You'll never guess where he was from. Afghanistan. Oh, yeah. So I'm like, you see how like the world just delivers? Also, one of the guys I was telling you about who stopped in a van, very nice guy, very handsome and everything. Both of them actually were. And they're all nice and sweet. Oh, this is your people. So I'm saying, I'm looking at every version of people in the world, yeah? Every race, every nation, every age, everybody is the problem. Everyone. I've seen it all now. I feel like I've seen it all. I've talked to men, women of all ages, races, everything. And I've just realized it's all bad. And I'm going to get into that, okay? Because I want to talk about this because this is just getting to a point. And I hate this whole, oh, I'm religious and so I'm somehow goody good. I'm sick of it. And it's ungodly and it's demonic. It's demonic. And by the way, I can't wait for Judgment Day. I volunteer first. I volunteer as tribute to go first and have all my sins written out. Because at least I'm not pretending. At least I'm not going around pretending to be some goody when I'm not. So we're going to start with the first story. Sorry, guys, I'm on high energy because I've been fuming as it is at how selfish and disgusting and degenerate this world is. But this story I'm about to tell you just took it to the next level. And I was just watching it just now. I was trying to eat some nachos, just have a little vibe before I go out on a walk. Oh, hell no. And then I saw this. So this girl, right? And I don't know what religion she is, but I know she's of faith, of some kind of faith. Anyway, it all comes out that I don't know if you guys have heard of the pair Abba and Preach. I personally love them. All right. I love them. I watch some of their stuff every now and then because I feel like they're very interesting, like just mid-level opinionated of everything. They're not really they don't really sway any side overwhelmingly. So I kind of like listening to them. And like I always say to you guys, I feel like if you want to be intelligent in life, you have to listen to people of all different ways of thinking. And that's where I think a lot of these problems come, by the way, is a lot of us love to group and only listen in our little groups of the people that we associate ourselves with, like our same community, our same political standpoint, our same race. Men don't really take the time to properly listen to women. Women don't take the time to properly listen to men. No one's listening to anyone. The generations are not listening to each other. Like everybody's in their little groups. Everyone's wondering why we have all these problems because no one's actually listening to each other. So I spend a lot of time trying to listen and experience and see as much as I can of as many people in order to see what's really going on. And that's why I said I realized that the real issue has got nothing to do with everything we think the issue is. But we're not getting into that. So I'm listening to them, and apparently Abba has this issue with this baby mama drama, which he was the last person I expected to have that with, because based on how he came across to me, then again, this is social media, everybody, just like in the world, how we all wake up and put on these fake facades, which is exactly what we're about to be talking about, right? people can fakely present themselves on the internet. So I'm like, no way. But I'm also not going to be one of the, like the rest of the world, when somebody you like has somebody critique them and all of a sudden you immediately like, no, there's no way. And you're meat riding them to kingdom come because you can't refuse, you refuse to have your beloved worshipped idol, right, potentially be a human being and potentially be flawed and potentially have done something wrong. Yeah, I'm calling everybody out. I don't care. Listen, I'm about to be 29 in a few days. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be on this planet because of how stupid, brain dead, degenerate and dysfunctional it is. And so if I'm going to be here, I'm going to say what I'm going to say, and I'm going to call out all the reasons why I think being here is an absolute hellscape and a prison sentence. So here we go. This girl, she's all coming out and she's all like, the story's unfolding. I'm looking into it. He's said his piece. She said her piece. And again, she's uploaded this video and she's all on some, and these are the women, yeah? This is why these women make me want to tear my womb out of my body. I'm like, God forbid I ever become a woman like so many of the women in the world today, right? God forbid I ever become like them, yeah? So this is why I'm like, let's just tear the womb out and let's just not talk to anybody ever. Because maybe it's just a disease that everybody just turns out badly, because that's how it's looking. I'm sorry to say it, right? And a lot of people who think, oh, it's not that bad. You guys are just managing and you've just accepted a lower level than what God even actually has in store, according to the scriptures. I digress. So she's all like, yeah, I just have to come out about my story. And she's all started a channel. And I'm like, listen, guys. I come on here and I talk about my life and my stories. And you notice I do so much effort not to be specify exactly what I'm talking about as much as possible, right? Because I understand that putting it on the internet, whether your intention is to share your story or to get help or to just whatever, express yourself or not, you have to think about the consequences, and you don't get to pretend that the consequences that are there don't exist. If you come on to give a man's information or a woman's information and in detail and you're sharing receipts and stuff, you don't get to sit and pretend or sit and act like, oh, well, this was just my intention, was just to share my story. No, you don't. And especially not if you're a grown adult. So anyways, she's all out here like, I was just trying to share my story and whatever. So the long and short of it is they got into a relationship, right? And after about 5 months, apparently they knew each other for 8 months. They got together for 5 months. She started to feel a certain way just as soon as she got pregnant. Listen, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this with the women. I'm sick of this. Listen, I don't care whether you're Christian. I don't care whether you're whatever. If he's not the man you want to be with, then if he's not the father of your children, then don't let him. If he's not father figure to you, or somebody you're willing to like potentially have a child with, don't open your legs. I don't care whether what the Bible says, the Quran says, what your mom says, what your grandma says, what TikTok says. I don't care what nobody says, okay? We need to level up. And guys, listen, I've been there, okay? I've had a miscarriage, and going through the miscarriage, the time I went through it was like hell, like I said. So I'm always scared, even myself. I'm saying this, guys. That's what I'm saying. I'm just not trying to pretend I'm any better than I am. That's what I'm saying. It's annoying because it's not helpful. It's not helpful. I'm not trying to pretend that I've been some goody good or I'm some goody good. Right? Because I've made my own mistakes. But I'm like, let's just stop pretending, because it's not helping anyone. And what would actually help is if we were honest and if we were actually holding ourselves accountable and stop putting up these facades of like, oh, and whatever, because this is where it went. So she now is like, I'm starting to have second guessing it as soon as I got pregnant, right? But then I didn't want to get rid of the baby because, well, first of all, she wants to get rid of the baby because she now feels like he's not the right guy. But then she's also battling that she wants to keep the baby because of her beliefs. Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh, you wanted to be the prim and proper Christian good girly, and like because of your morals and values, then shut your legs. Shut your legs then. Stop picking and choosing. This is what I'm saying. This is why, yeah, I hope none of you and no one in the world identifies me with the good Christian or a good girl. I hope no one thinks I'm a good girl. Guys, I'm a heathen. I don't want for a second, yeah, to forever to be associated with people saying to, oh, well, I'm just, because of my religious beliefs and because. It reminds me of the girls when I was at uni, right? And I never even second guessed it, yeah? They'll be all wearing the hijab. They'll all be fully covered, right? And there was some of us dressing however we dressed, yeah? And I always used to think, you know what, good for them. Until the guys were like, oh, you don't know what kind of clothes they keep underneath those wears. You don't know what they do. They just wear that everywhere. And then when they come to our houses, they take it all off. I was like, oh, is that right? Is that right? This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It's like, hey, let's go to Judgment Day. Listen, I will tell you all my sins. And listen, I've been with the Lord. Today, I've been having one of those days where I've been having to clear out because the Lord gave me the fear of a lifetime. As in, like, you need to fix up because you lacking and you're allowing yourself to do things you know you're not supposed to be doing. And you need to get serious. So I had the fear of God put through me. And again, this is something I don't have to tell anybody. I could just sit on here and be like, so guys, it's been another perfect week as a daughter of the Lord, and everything has been so amazing. I've been praying and fasting for 8 hours every day. No, I haven't. I haven't been praying and fasting anywhere near the amount I'm supposed to be. I've actually been doing things I shouldn't be doing, to be completely honest with you. Some things. And partially it's because I'm having a downward spiral of the fact that my birthday is coming. You know, it's not an excuse. But hey, at least I'm not pretending. And that's why I'm telling you about it, whilst I'm also calling other people out. Because you see, that's what happened. Because this is what was getting to me. And this is what gets to me. And this is why our belief systems, yeah. I'll speak for Christianity because the other things are just religions. But real relationship with God is a relationship, right? And this is why we have a bad reputation. Because doing the fakety fake, right? And then turning out to be a hypocrite doesn't help anybody. You know what actually helps people is seeing people actually be honest and like progress through actually overcoming things and being real. That's why I'm like, oh, you Christian girl. It's like, yeah, well, I'm just a good girl. It's like those good girls gone Bible and how they were like, yeah, you know, this is time with God and God and God and God and this God and, you know, people are trying to, and then there's videotapes of them doing this and that. Listen. It turns out behind the scenes they're actually doing bottle service and all this. Listen, guys. I find this world to be excruciating for this exact reason. So anyways, this girl, she's all... Now, this is the bit that got me annoyed initially. They want to go to have this abortion, and because eventually he doesn't want to have an abortion anyway. And she's the one who's first thinking about doing it. He didn't actually want to even get rid of the baby. This comes into the other thing that annoys me about us as women. Don't worry, gentlemen, I'm coming for you guys as well. Don't think that I'm on anybody's side here. The only side I'm on here is God's. As far as I am concerned, God, the winning team, the children, and to hell with everybody else, okay? And I really mean that because I could not care less because this is the absolute horror show that the world that we're living in. Why would I want to be a part of this? Why would I want to be anything like any of these women? Why would I want to be like any of the men who are the men of the world? So this is what I'm saying. This is ironic about the last guy. Was this the last guy? No, when I was in London last time, and the last thing that happened was this Afghanistan guy approaching me, whatever. Oh, like all this and that, and I'm like, oh yeah. So what happens if I go with you to Afghanistan? Now I'm going to be covered in the freaking. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, and I have so many examples of the guys from different places in the world. That's why I'm like, oh, it's the same nonsense everywhere. Right? Anyways, so what was I saying? Yeah, so he initially wants to keep the baby. She doesn't want to keep the baby. She wants to keep the baby. Then she's decided, oh, she can't. And she's obviously going through the realities of, oh, this is getting real. I've been there, like I've said. Okay, so then the next thing is they decide, okay, she's going to get an abortion. He didn't want it. He didn't want to do it, but he was like, fine, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you're going to do. He goes to support her. They go book the appointment. She cancels it. And that happens 3 times. This is where I have the problem, yeah, because I'm like, first of all, you're being so selfish by just playing with somebody else's child, like somebody else's feelings. Like that's also his child. And that is something that really upsets me that women do, where we all in, like, a lot of us women want to be like, men are like this, men this, men this. But then when it's the men who are actually trying, so I said the world, it sucks. The men who are actually trying and the men who actually care, this is what we do to them. Like, this is the stuff we do to them. And then we complain when we go off with the other riffraff of the world and how they treat us, but this is how we treat the good men. This is what I'm saying. And it happens the same vice versa with men and women, right? It happens the same way around. Men will have a good woman and will take absolutely all advantage of her, will do all of this and do all of that, yeah? But then there will be other men who fall for the Jezebels. You guys and I talk about it all the time. It's always the men falling for the freaking Jezebels. The Jezebels are always the ones swaying the men all the time because they're idiots. Yeah, bless them. We love them. But they're not smart when it comes to women, just like we're not smart when it comes to men. Hello. Maybe there's a reason why God said that we should follow him and that true wisdom is to follow him and have faith and listen to what he says. And maybe that's why he gave us the Holy Spirit as our teacher and our counselor to dwell inside of our bodies. So we have somebody to tell us and give us discernment and help us to understand, because what we see and what we understand, we actually don't know anything. So that's why I'm sick and tired of the fakeness of it all, okay? So that's part 1 of that. So she's doing this now, and that really hurt my heart because I always try to put myself in other people's feelings, in other people's like situation, yeah. And this is what I've realized is why people don't. We all in the world think that problems think the problems that we think exist are not the problems that actually exist. Because I might be here feeling a whole way about like, oh my gosh, it's my body, I'm having a baby, whatever. But also somebody else has created this child with you. Like that's also their baby. And like in a perfect world where you're with the perfect man, you would hope they cared that much. You would hope they wanted you to keep the child. You would hope they would be as dedicated. So this is what I'm saying. We're all ruining the very people we want and then wondering why there's all these issues. We all need to wise up and we all need to stop pretending and we all need to start calling things out for what it is. So she's all like, oh, doing this back and forth. So I'm feeling for him because that emotional turmoil of, oh my gosh, I'm about to become a father. Oh no, I'm not. My baby's about to die. Oh my gosh, I'm about to become a father. Oh my gosh, my baby's about to die. Yes, of course, we're the ones who are experiencing this in our bodies. I've experienced the death of a child in my body. I've said that. And it was the worst thing that ever happened to me. Most psychologically, and physically, it was the worst physical pain I've ever experienced. And I'm somebody who historically doesn't even cry from pain and has a really high pain tolerance. And I've been through a lot of psychological things. It was both the worst of those two things, right? So I'm not negating that we are going through this and it's happening in our body, but that doesn't change the fact that everybody, and this is what I'm trying to say, we're not good at putting ourselves in other people's shoes and being empathetic. In the same way, I have issues a lot of the time with the male community. I don't think they really do take our issues and what it's like being a woman as seriously as they should. I don't think they do. I don't think they realize what an actual stress the hormonal roller coaster is throughout the month. And it doesn't help when they are disregarding it. That's why I don't ever really want to actually trust a man in my life. Because I'm like, I don't want to have to explain why I'm doing this because it's happening in my body and it feels like something's like pulling this and then like doing that and then like doing this and then like doing that. And it's horrible. I hate it. I hate the feeling in my body. I absolutely hate it. I wish I could just go like 2 weeks and just feel consistent, like just feel normal. Not be like, oh, it's this phase. Now it's the luteal phase. Now my period is about to start in a week. So now my body's getting ready for the period. And now the period's here, so now I'm going through the period. Now the period's ended. Now I'm going through the end of the period. Oh, I'm ovulating. Oh my gosh, it's so much energy. It's so much stress. Oh my freaking days. Okay, so listen, it's all a problem. Everybody's the problem, right? So anyway, so she starts doing all of this. Now, this is the bit that got me after all was said and done, right? After all was said and done, I can understand the back and forth. I think she didn't spend enough time considering his feelings because in the end, he was like, listen, I'm done. You do whatever you want to do. I don't want to hear from you again, which I understand because I actually personally think her behaving like that, and if that's how she's going to behave with him, and that's the dynamic she's going to have with him, that's also unhealthy for the child. The child is actually probably better off without him there altogether, which is also a tough decision for him, I'm sure, to have to make because that is his child. But I get it because what's going to be worse for the kid having him and her doing this back and forth thing and her getting away with it. That's the other thing about what we all need to understand as men and women, right? Is that sometimes when you take advantage of somebody and they give you another chance and they give you another chance, at a certain point, right, you have to recognize that they can't go forward with you because now were trying to help you and give you a chance. You took advantage, but now you've done it so much that why are you not going to do it again? Why are you not going to continue that behavior? That's why I believe, right, that God says that the one thing that you can break up a marriage is cheating. Because like, well, if I now accept you because you cheated, why are you not going to cheat again? You see what I'm saying? It's bigger than just all people's feelings. It's also about behavior and choice. Because like I said, you have to choose. All of us have to choose to be considerate. We are naturally selfish as humans. We choose to be considerate. That's why the most demanding relationship, which is having a child, is the one that people struggle with the most because you have to choose. You have to choose to go outside of what's comfortable for you. And it happens 24/7, right? So anyways, she now starts to play the victim card. This is the bit that sent me. At this moment, I was sent, right? She starts to play the victim card like, and he blocked me and I was trying to reach out to him. And so then I reached out, I got my cousin to reach out to him. And so now she's spreading. Again, she did what she did and she needs to accept that this is the consequences of her actions. She's now appealing to others to make them feel sorry for her. This happens all the time. This happens all the time amongst women, and I've noticed it. Hey, listen, I'm still coming for the guys. Don't worry. If I have to do the men as a part 2, I couldn't decide, to be honest, which side I was gonna go for first. But I decided I'll go for the women first because I'm a woman, like I said. So we deal with our own camps first. Everybody deal with their own group. If we all went to our own groups and took responsibility, everything would be fine. Rather than pointing the finger like Adam and Eve did. But anyways, I'm going to talk about everybody because I have free will. So, so this is the thing I've noticed. And again, because I work with kids, I've worked with kids my whole life. So I see it's always a woman playing the victim. Like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what he did. And the men, they withdraw, right? They just withdraw. They just go. And that's a characteristic that I feel sorry for them in a lot of ways for, because in their nature, because they're stronger than us and because they're, whatever, then of course, we don't necessarily feel like we have they do seem like the more dangerous ones, and they actually are. Because actually, before I decide to make any of these videos, the video is going to make today was going to be the world is not safe for women. The world will never be safe for women. And I do truly believe that. And I have reasons of certain events that have taken place in the last really my entire life, but especially the last couple weeks. Just certain things have happened that I've discovered, that I found out about. And I'm like, wow, when men can get away with what they really want to do, they really can be really quite scary. But anyways, so she's doing all this, yeah. And she's now sharing it with her cousins. Her cousin's like, oh, she just wants to speak. By the way, this is exactly why I don't want to have friends. This is exactly why I don't want to have friends. And so exactly why I don't want to have any human relationships. I don't want to have family, nothing. Because I hate, and this happened to me once upon a time, right? And it was actually with, and it happened again where I had a specific problem with somebody that I knew, right? A family member, or two of them rather. And I said, hey, I need to take a break from speaking with you, blah, 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 blah. If we could, I'm not going to make it into a drama. I'm not going to tell the whole world about it. This is just between us. I just need time to myself. And in fact, that was a conversation I was having with a lot of people. It was while I was in London, and I wanted to just take a break from all of my social interactions to just hone in and just figure out what I needed to figure out. Next thing you know, I'm talking to another one. It was one of my baby cousins, my younger cousins, messages me, hey, I just wanted to say, so I heard that such and such happened with so-and-so. I'm like, what? Why do you even know about this? And first of all, this isn't even appropriate for you. This isn't even appropriate for you. What? But you've been now marinated to think, oh no, you just need to hear them out. And guess what? The reasons for me doing this is not even appropriate to be telling you as a kid. By the way, this is the main reason I don't talk to my family, if anybody wants to know, because they like to involve the younger folks when I try to keep them out of it, when I'm trying to deal with the adults and the adult issues. And so I was like, okay, I'm just not going to talk to anybody then, because I'm not going to contaminate the poor younger folks, because it's not their right. They shouldn't get involved. And also, when you're involving people who care about you but don't know the full context of everything that's happening, obviously they're going to be on your side. It's easy to sway the side. And I think that's manipulative. That's what I think she's doing. She's being manipulative by reaching out to her cousin and getting her to message this guy. She's also being manipulative. She then messaged on her Aberrant Preachers page, their public page, which at least has Preach on it, who doesn't need to know. Yes, they are friends, they're close friends, but it's Abba's job, it's his right and his responsibility, his boundaries. I shouldn't have to explain this, but I have to, because I live in such a freaking brain dead society. It's his right to share whatever information he wants to share with whoever he wants to share it with. And by the way, I'll just go ahead and say this. I can tell you this for free, and I'll say it with my chest. I know that the reason why I know a lot of secrets about a lot of people, and throughout the years men have shared a lot of secrets with me, because they know I'm not going to go and share them with anybody. And the reason they're not telling you what you want them to know is because they know you're going to go and gossip. I've learned that from listening. That's a risk they don't like to take. So that's why I'm like, okay, I don't gossip. I don't share. I don't, right? Because I've heard and I've understood, right? It might be all fun and games for me to share. And don't get me wrong, I'm sitting on a gold mine of juicy information I could be sharing, and people I could be putting out on blast. I could be doing TikTok series like the rest of the girlies in my age group, right? But I choose not to, because I'm trying to be understanding, right? And I'm trying to actually behave as though the things that, anyway, whatever. So she's doing this. She now goes on to there, which again is social media. She's being deeply inconsiderate, because I'm also thinking not only is Preach there, whom he may not want to know all the details, or he may want to, or I don't know, right? Because of course they're close on camera, but we don't know their colleagues. Anyways, it's nobody's place to, all of this stuff, extra stuff I'm saying now doesn't matter, because it's his prerogative, it's his business. And we live in a world now where you have to explain this stuff because everybody's so entitled. And that's the reason why I actually also hate human relationships, by the way. It's because everyone's so entitled. Oh, I'm interested in you, so I'm entitled to your time. I'm entitled to an explanation. Oh, I'm your friend, so I'm entitled to, if you're free, you can't just be free and say, oh, I'm just going to chill at home. Oh, please, I haven't seen you in ages. I really just want to be at home. Oh, but if you're free, there's no reason why you haven't messaged me. How come you haven't messaged me back? Is it because this? Is it because this? I have rights to my own time. Everybody does. This is what I'm saying. Everybody's blood-sucking freaking leeches, and I can't stand it here. So next thing, she's gone there. And I'm also thinking, right, as well, the other thing is, this is a social media platform. He could have teams on there. People have social media running their accounts. You don't know if they trust those people. You don't know what it is, right? Because it's one thing when you've got random fans who don't know them, who are sending whatever they're sending, or random weirdos, right? It's another thing when it's like their actual partner. This is a gold mine, because like I'm saying, again, and this is why I'm like, what really were your intentions here? Because it seems like your intentions were to tear a man down. And that were your intentions. It wasn't about, oh, the baby. And it wasn't about, oh, the this. Because then she decides she wants to keep it. And that's why she's now making him look like the bad guy. Oh my gosh, you selfish witch. You witch. I hate women like this. I fundamentally hate women like this. And God, curse my womb if I'm destined to ever turn into a woman like this in the name of Jesus. May a baby never leave my body if I'm destined to become a woman like this, because this is the most selfish behavior I've ever seen in my life. And she's just sitting there looking all innocent and just here and victim. You're not the freaking victim, mate. You're no victim. Take accountability. This is something I'm sick of the goody good girl Christians feeling bad when they get caught out, when something happens and they're trying to turn the blind. You're not clearly the good girl you were, because actually the only person, if you were a real believer or whatever, religious, whatever, it's supposed to be about selflessness. Yeah, it's about godliness is about selflessness, right? So you're being the epitome of selfish. You just want to get away with whatever you want to get away with. Which can nicely brings me over to the freaking, this sort of saying about this is what I discovered about Afghanistan. And can I just tell you, it's dark. It's dark, the things that the men of the world are doing. Right? In the West now and all over the world, they've got this platform where 62 million men are discussing how they can get away with drugging their wives so they can force them to have sex with them. 62 million all found on a platform. Yeah. We don't even need to get into all the Epsteins, the Diddies, right? The Somalia, they were all crying. I keep bringing it up. Somalia was all crying. Why? Oh, they're crying because the government tried to say it's not okay for under 18s. This is what I'm saying. And these are the Muslim men crying. They're not okay for the under 18s. Yeah, to be able to have sex with them. They're making it illegal, and they're crying about it. Men in their 90s. Every time we see men in the West now, right? Even Toby frigging Maguire, freaking Spider-Man, that one hurt extra for me. Bro's 50s with a 20-year-old. What are you doing with a 20-year-old? Do you know, a few times it's happened to me, yeah, where I've had a guy who's like younger than me, like between 21 and 24, try and talk to me. And you know what? It really does feel like talking to a child. Like, and maybe it's also because I'm a woman, right? But it really does feel like talking to a child. And I'm just like, oh, bless, it's so cute. Like, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like they're not like adults, it's whatever, but it's just like, why would I be here? Like, I want to have a conversation with like an adult. Like, do you know what I mean? So all of this stuff I find really weird, also because I work with kids. So when I'm hearing kids and seeing the things they do and just seeing how their behavior is as well, like, I'm just like, especially because I'm teaching them, and so I'm really having to have patience to try and get through their heads, and they think I'm just like, oh my gosh, these guys are so lost, which makes it darker for me how obsessed so many people are with younger people. And don't get me wrong, obviously we've got the female teacher story arc, which, by the way, a guy told me about that as well, about his female. Guys have told me a lot of stories actually over the years of stuff that women have done, but unfortunately, because they're men again, a lot of them kind of liked the experience. Some of them were very uncomfortable. And that's a conversation for another day, because that's another problem we have, is that no one's ever going to be able to talk about that, because I don't believe us as women would I don't think we're capable of creating a space in society where men can actually deal with their sexual traumas as a result of women. I don't think, or even men, I don't think it's possible. I don't think we have this, as we are as women, as our natural nature, I don't think we'd be able to do it. In the same way, I don't think men, as their natural nature, will ever truly be able to understand what it's like for us to actually be women and what it's actually like having a womb. I think those are things that we're only ever going to be able to work together on and be able to like help each other with if God is at the center of everything. And I'm saying at the center of our families, at the center of our friendships, at the center of our whatevers, right? Romantic relationships, whatever. It's only ever going to work if God is at the center, because he's the only person who could mediate efficiently for each other. Otherwise, we're both going to make the situation worse for each other with how tone deaf we're going to be. Yeah. So anyways, so I'm hearing this next thing hold in Afghanistan, and I'm seeing the women are walking around, and it's scary. They're all dressed in these cloaks, right? You guys know the ones where they wear the whole black thing. And the last I heard, they wear the ones where it's only the eyes visible. Now even their eyes is too much, right? Even their eyes are too much. You look at places like in the Middle East, women are not allowed to drive because the vibrations are considered haram, or whatever it is for a woman to be driving in the car, whatever, and all this stuff. That's why I love that song by Mia, M-I-A. She's now I just saw she released a Christian song. So I'm like, I'm so glad we got her. The one that's like, my chain hits my chest when I'm banging on the dashboard. I love that song. Live fast, die young, bad girl, do it well. It's because I know what it's about. Because she made that song. She was saying that in protest to the treatment of women, like in the Middle East and stuff. So I think that's sick. Oh, so good. I love that. It's my favorite cardio song ever. If I have that song on cardio, I promise you I will run for that to the rest of my life. That is my cardio song of the lifetime, right? I love that song. And she's now a believer, which I'm so glad. I love when people were like... But anyways, and she released a Christian song, which I actually need to search it. Let me just make sure I actually make a note to search this, because I got to search that. But yeah, like, so now women are not allowed to even hear each other's voices. What is it like? And this is what I'm saying, like, what are we doing this for? It reminds me of like the modesty argument. Listen, guys, I'm not being modest anymore. Can I tell you that I'm throwing modesty to the wind? I'm going to dress however the hell I want. And not because I'm trying to empower myself against the men. It's because it doesn't matter anyways. It doesn't matter. Whether we cover up everything, whether we are butt-ass naked, the men who are entitled and who will take advantage will do it anyway. And I've noticed that in the scenes where the places where the women have the highest level of expectations of modesty and the lowest amount of rights is actually where you find the most degenerate kinds of men in the first place, the most entitled and the most heinous. That's what I've learned. And I've also learned that through dating. Because you know what's actually funny? You know what I find really funny? Let me tell you, in my experience, I have seen that when I am encountering, I can easily distinctify the differences between the religious guys and the non-religious guys. Can I tell you, I feel safer around the non-religious guys. You know why? A lot of them have just a very balanced relationship, like if they are the good guys of that portion, right? Not the other entitled ones, right? But they just have a very balanced relationship. They're not trying to hold themselves to no standard, and they're not trying to prove themselves to nothing. And they're just going about life. They're just humble. They're whatever. Yeah. So they're very sweet. They're very kind of respectful, because they're not just trying to think of things from what they grew up or who they're trying to prove themselves to, or holding themselves, their whole identity being based on their religion, whatever. They kind of just are who they are, and they're very nice to be around. I can't lie, I prefer to talk to the men who are not Christian. They are so nice to be around. They are the funnest to go on dates with. We have normal conversations. They're in control of themselves. You can tell they're in control of themselves, right? Right? Freaking the Christian men, oh my gosh, are they the thirstiest? I've never seen a thirsty group of men in my life. Thirsty, and trying to pretend that they're well hydrated. Oh, that is the most dangerous place to be as a woman, because any little thing you do, this is why they're all like, oh, cover up, right? Oh, don't show your knees. Oh, don't show your this. Oh, don't show your that. It's just in case you cause a man to stumble. Screw that. Again, like I said, the Bible says in Galatians 5:22, it talks about, guess what? What are the fruits of spirit? Is self-control. Oh yeah, you man of God. Oh, you man of God, whatever. Listen, I should be able to get all up in your face. It reminds me of the dance days, right? Especially because in dance, especially like in that kind of scene and the kind of dance styles I was involved with a lot, there wasn't a lot of Christian guys there. And I think back to how like, we would just like, there's so many things that would happen where like there would just not be lines crossed, and people would just have the men would just have self-control. Like, I don't ever remember one single time, and all the times I was in any dance situation, and I mean, we would do stuff like, obviously we go to performances together, we're all like touching each other, holding each other naked, going out partying, people are drinking, like in all these scenarios. There was never a time where any of the dancer guys I've ever known ever crossed the line. None of them. None of them ever crossed the line. If ever they did anything, they were always in control of themselves, always. And this is why they were so much fun to go and hang out with, because now you go and hang out with a bunch of guys. Oh my gosh, he made his guy friends or whatever. And I mean, in any aspect, and there's something has to cross, and it's just like the story I was telling you about when I went to the freaking family friend barbecue, and both of these guys are now doing stuff. One guy's putting his hand up my skirt as soon as he gets the chance. The other guy's all doing whatever. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. How can I be literally naked, doing all these moves, dancing to all these sexual songs, mind you, and everything, and we're all doing the stuff like and all of this. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, I wonder if when people watch dance videos, if people think that dancers are just super horny, because it's actually not even like that at all. But I bet that's the impact it's having on others. I actually thought about that the other day. I actually thought about that because we're just moving our bodies. But I guess because people are so, and I've realized that the fact that everybody is so deprived, the fact that the male community is deprived a lot, it's really an issue for them. And it's like, you know what? This is why we should have all just followed God's ways, you know? Because if we'd all did things the way that the Lord had, I believe, like a lot of things society does, I think that's setting everybody up for failure. People moving out at 18, bad idea, living by themselves, waiting till whatever age to settle down and get married. So everybody's going to go and try around. Like, that's the other thing I have against men. It's like, what virgin do you expect to find when you're also trying to sleep with as many women as you can? Where do you expect to find the virgins? Where? Yeah. And how do you actually also expect, I'm getting it all off my chest now. How do you actually expect to have an intimate experience, right, when you're not used to intimacy? And then you wonder why now your wives don't want to have sex with you. Yeah, I've heard it all. I've been hearing it all because I've been hearing the stories. I've been hearing people say this and say this. I've experienced it myself. I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to see the issues, right? I'm starting to see the issue. So yeah, anyways, it's Afghani guys, the women can't do this. Like, shut the hell up. The men need to shut up. I don't want to hear nothing about fatherlessness because a lot of you aren't even freaking fathers. Because, he's a great father, but we just didn't work out. So then he's not a great father then, because you know what, a great father would make sure that he had a stable relationship with the mother first before even having the child. How about that? None of this, he's a great... No. Because now you just set the example for your own daughter once again. Now, your daughter, if you're not there, it's going to, what are you going to do? Blame the wife? You're not together. Now she's going to see whatever her mum's getting up to and whatever her mum's behavior is. And what you're going to be like, this is exalted fatherlessness. You should have thought about that. You know what I'm saying? We all need to think about it. Like I said, guys, I'm not perfect either, okay? I've learned this lesson also myself the hard way, as I'm telling you, okay? I'm just saying that at a certain point, when are we going to just actually all wise up and actually just realize that we need to do better? And when are we going to actually take accountability for what our camp is doing and then not just point the finger elsewhere? Because that's my other problem, especially with a lot of men. I would never do this. I would never do that. No one cares because your colleagues will, your friends, your family members, your boys, your buddies, right? Your countrymen. You know what I'm saying about these Afghani guys? But wherever you want to go on a date, you can take you wherever you want. I just would love to see you. I can come and do whatever you want to. As soon as this is the first one, that's what he was like, whatever you would like, I'll do whatever for you, blah, 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 blah. And then the second guy was like, after I would like to take you on a date, and after I take you on a date, I just want to know that once we get together, I don't want you to have to worry about absolutely anything. That's nice. What about your sisters back in Afghanistan right now who just going through what they're going through? That's nice. You know what I'm saying? That's nice when I'm talking to a lovely British guy, whatever. I'll tell you to do all of this. I'll, really like you. Same stuff, same exact script every single time. I'm like, and what about the 62 million men? What about all these? Like, what about it? What about your buddies and your whatevers? What about that? It's like even when it comes to the African men are the same. They're like, I will do anything for you. Oh, you mean in South Africa where there's a whole campaign right now because the husbands are killing their wives? You mean in the country Zambia where I come from, where over 60% of women are being beaten so badly by their husbands they can't even sit down? My own grandfather used to beat my grandmother with barbed wire. My own grandmother, whose face everybody says I have. So imagine that. I want you to imagine that. I want you to imagine me getting beaten with a barbed wire. And then if I now say, I want to get a face tattoo. Why would you ruin your face? You should. Why would you ruin all this to your body? Why would you get a tattoo? Why would you get piercings? You should just embrace your natural stuff. So you guys can come and absolutely violate it. I feel like the more pure and innocent I look, the more likely to be violated. The more good girl I am, the more likely that I'm going to be taken advantage of. I'm going to be contaminated, because this seems what you people love to do, is come and destroy. Yeah, so no. I'm done with the modesty story arc, because I've realized I've just got to live my life in faith, because guess what? Whether I am walk out the house butt naked or I'm dressing like these women now in Afghanistan, the same thing rules, unless the men learn how to be better and gain self-control and actually learn from the Lord, right? Unless us women, again, learn to be better, learn to be more self-aware, I think is a big one. I think everybody needs to gain self-awareness. Because a lot of guys will be like, oh, women don't give me a chance. Oh, I had this conversation now with this guy that was trying to talk to me actually yesterday. And he was like, and he did the classic loser story arc. And I was like, this isn't attractive to a woman. And this is why you should actually listen to women rather than just acting out of whatever. So he's like trying to talk to me, whatever. And I'm like, I'm already knowing that it's not going anywhere, because for obvious reasons, that those of you who've been here for long enough, you know what the obvious reason is. But for those of you who don't know, we're just going to leave it at that. And I was like, but I'll hear him out. Right, let's hear him out. I think it's always fair. I think it's respectable to always at least hear somebody out and give them a chance. You know what I mean? Because you never know. And you never know, you know? And this is what I'm saying. Like, I try to be understanding to everyone. So anyways, he is saying all this, whatever. And then he immediately starts like, oh, but you know, like, what, just like, I don't know how you feel. And like, I hope, and he starts like, it's not like he was being nervous, because nervousness is absolutely fine. Hold on, I'm going to close the window because it's getting a bit... Nervousness is actually endearing. I think nervousness is actually really endearing, because it actually shows you care, and is 100,000 times better than overconfidence. Overconfidence, I feel like, oh, I can't wait to crush your ego. I mean, I'm going to crush it because I know how. Because you guys are a lot more sensitive than you like to let on. And I know the secret. And I know how to hit where it hurts. I know how to hit where it hurts, right? And so I find the nervousness endearing, right? But and honestly, it makes me feel like being a nicer person, you know. I end up finding myself being a bit more like sweeter, because I'm, oh, bless him, like, and not in a condescending way, like, and actually that's actually nice. And it's actually nice for a guy to be humble enough to not care so much about appearing all like whatever, right? Because again, it's giving insecurity, it's giving I need validation. That's what it's giving. It's giving I need validation. I need people to look up to me. I'm lacking in internal, intrinsic contentment in who I am. I need the external validation. That's ugly. That's unattractive, I just like to say. But anyways, so we're having this conversation and going back and forth, and I realized it wasn't that he was being nervous, but he was just like basically telling me all these assumptions. And this happens with guys a lot, where they tell me their assumptions of what's going to happen. Oh, you're probably just going to do this anyways, and if I give you my number, you're probably just going to immediately block me anyway, because, and this is where he's going. I'm like, this is the loser behavior. In my head I was like, oh, I can't wait to tell this to YouTube as a case study of everything I talk about. Oh, but you know, you're probably just gonna like not want to talk to me anyway, and then he just kept going on and on and on and on and on and on. It actually exhausted me. It takes a lot to exhaust me in these kind of scenarios, because I usually find them to be quite fun, because I'm like, oh, here we go, because men are just like a mystery. So every time it's just like a fun, I know this shouldn't say that, but it is. I enjoy it, right? Because I get a kick out of it, okay? I'll be honest, I get a kick out of it because it's fun, because they're all so different, and we are so different, and I'm just like, I don't know where this is going, and I just can't wait to see what's about to come out of you people's mouths, right? And so he was doing all this, and then at this point, this is the first time in a very long time that I was just like, oh, this is horrific. And then I said to him, you know what, respectfully, because he did the classic thing of where he's just talking so much and making so many assumptions. He said so many things. This happened to me before. I've told you guys about it many times. It's happened to me many times where I'm like, I'm saying stuff and he's not hearing the things that I've said, right? And I even tried to make a joke to like lighten the mood, right? Oh, and he took it wrongly. I was like, right, so you don't even have a sense of humor, off-putting, because sense of humor, that's like the one thing anybody can develop a sense of humor. However you look, whatever, everybody can develop a sense of humor, right? And a sense of humor will take you far. So, and I'm like, I am very sarcastic with my sense of humor. And I really like to push the boundaries of my humor, and I really like dark humor. The darker, the better. And the more balls you have to make a darker joke, the more respect I actually have for you, especially because I'm a woman, and then, men are they're like pussyfooting around us these days because of everything. So I actually really find it quite attractive when a man has the bollocks to make quite a heinous joke, because I'm like, good for you for not being so desperate, right? So anyways, he's doing all of this, and then he's like, and I was like, I don't think we're going to need to end this conversation, whatever. It's because I know I'm a loser. I'm a loser. And in my head I was thinking, you should be so happy that I'm gracious and I'm feeling sorry for you right now, because I was thinking you are. Like, stand straight, have confidence. Like don't immediately come out, oh, of course. It's like when guys are like, oh, no one's going to be interested in me because I'm short. No one's going to be interested in me because I'm ugly. Who cares? Do you know what's not attractive to women? Lack of confidence. Feeling sorry for yourself. Because what's the point of having a man in your life? I may as well be a lesbian. If we're all just going to sit here wallowing in self-pity, I might as well go and be with a woman. Like, for goodness sake. Stand up, like, shut up, bust up, stand up. I'm not saying don't have feelings. I'm not saying don't have emotions. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, those are very important. What I'm saying is, if you're going to approach me and this is day.1 and you're trying to make a statement here and you're coming on you're probably, that's not attractive. That's not attractive. Like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Like, there's a picture I wanted to make a whole video about, and I might still do it, right? Where there's these guys, right? Because a lot of guys feel sorry for themselves, and then they take their anger out on women. And those are the guys that are the scariest. You see the sexless men of the world, and I don't mean the ones who are not having loads of sex. I mean the ones who don't have a lot of access. They're quite scary because they love and hate women. They hate to love women. They love to hate us at the same time, and it's quite scary. That's why a lot of them, when they finally even do get the women, they want to have like 1,000 women. They want to be able to talk. They talk down on women because they hate us and they hate how much power we have over them. That's the truth. They hate how much power we have over them. So a lot of them, they're the angry ones. And they're the actual dangerous ones to be around, because they will just, as soon as they get any tiff of anything, because even this guy was like, is it because there's somebody else? And they always ask that, is it because there's somebody else? Is it because there's somebody else? Is it like that? Like if you, before when I was, I went on a couple dates with this guy, and I know I wasn't talking to anybody, and this was prior to you guys, you know what, for you know who, for you guys who know. And he was like, is there anybody else? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, well, I always see you. And he's the same guy, mind you, who says, I always see you walking around by yourself. Like, you're so blinded. Like, this is what I'm saying. Everybody needs to go to the Lord, because we're also blinded by our natures, and it's not helping anybody. And I'm sick and tired of the religious folks trying to act. Like I said, a lot of these situations I'm specifically talking about, they're like religious guys. They're religious guys. They're guys are men of God, I'm a Muslim, whatever. And then when you bring things to the table, like I'm talking to the Muslim people, I even brought it up to my friend, the one who's who's Muslim, the Turkish one. I said to him, do you know that I was telling him about Muhammad. And again, a lot of these men, now this is why the Muslim men they really hate me. And I'm actually, the Lord has to be protecting me, because I know that kind of anger that they hold inside, especially coming from a woman with a mouth like mine. They couldn't like it, because I understand the Quran more than a lot of they do, and I've read more of it than a lot of them have. And it makes sense, because as per usual, as is the case with the religion, and this is a big part where I think God is going to really one day have to come to the men for this, and hold the men accountable, where us as women have been expected to meet all these standards according to the scriptures. So actually we know a lot of them well, and a lot of men don't realize a lot of the things that the Lord is expecting of them. And this is why a lot of the men are out here just happily requesting this, that, and the third from women. And this is where I'm like, to be honest with you, I'll say it because I can comfortably say that I at least meet the majority of the requirements, or I would be willing to do the majority of the requirements of what God would. Well, I'd be willing to do all of them, but I can already currently meet the majority of the requirements of what the Bible says I need to be as a woman, if I choose to do so. And I can assure you that of the Christian men that I've met, then most of them are not even 50% there for what the Bible says about them. Most of the leaders are not even 50% there for what the Bible says about the leaders. And so this little imbalance has backfired. The patriarchy, you have backfired it for yourself. But I might get back. I'm going to get that. Actually, I'm going to do that as its own separate video next, shall we? Because we're just getting everything off our chest today. Anyways, guys, the Lives Game was supposed to win. I'll catch you in the next part. I'm going to continue on this whole story arc, and I'm going to talk about, it's going to be the religious patriarchy has backfired, and more on why I got long live the patriarchy tattooed on my wrist, because this is exactly why. Because I know that the men have, my experiences with the male community have been so negative in so many ways. They've also been positive in a lot of ways, by the way, a lot of positive experiences. And that's why I don't hate them. But also it's because when I do feel that demon knocking, I just remind myself of the patriarchy that matters to me, which is God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit. That's the only patriarchy I'm a part of. And that's the only patriarchy that can save us. And that's the only patriarchy us as women can believe in. There's no point actually dealing with any man in the world who is not Christ, has the Holy Spirit dwelling within himself and his own personal relationship with God. And same with the males. There's no point, because everybody else is just going to take whatever they can do and find whatever excuses that they can as a man or as a woman and play to their strengths, play to their to the cards that are dealt to them based on their gender, and it's going to backfire on you, and there's nothing you can do about it, because the only way out of it is having the Spirit of the Lord that dwells within us, that helps us to work against our own flesh and helps us to become, as the Bible says, a new creation, and helps us to understand how God actually wanted us to use the tools in which he gave us both. But anyways, on to the next one, guys. I'll see you in the next one, because if life is a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.